Have you ever thought about what secrets lie behind Hagrid's kind-hearted nature? What if his past was far more tragic and mysterious than you imagined? In today's video, you will find out the truth about the most beloved professor in Harry Potter. Rubeus Hagrid is one of the most endearing characters in the wizarding world, a gentle giant, fiercely loyal, and always willing to help, even at his own risk. He cares deeply for magical creatures and stands by Harry and his friends through thick and thin. But despite his big heart, he has always been an outcast, looked down upon by some wizards, excluded from society, carrying the weight of past accusations. Why did Hagrid live this way? What made him different? Hagrid's father was a kind and loving wizard, though his name remains a mystery. He raised his son with warmth, teaching him all he could. But Hagrid's mother? That's where things take a darker turn. Her name was Fridwulfa, a giantess. Unlike his father, she had no interest in raising a child. When Hagrid was just 3, she abandoned the family, disappearing without a trace. His father did his best to care for him, but fate was cruel. At only 12, Hagrid lost his father, leaving him an orphan. Annie, who took care of him after that? No one really knows. One thing is clear. He learned to survive on his own from a young age. Despite his tragic past, Hagrid found a home at Hogwarts, placed in Gryffindor House. He was 2 years younger than Tom Riddle, the boy who would become Lord Voldemort. Even then, Hagrid had a deep love for magical creatures, even the dangerous ones. And that love became his downfall. When the Chamber of Secrets was opened, Tom Riddle needed a scapegoat. He accused Hagrid of the attack, claiming that his pet Acromantula, Aragog, was the monster behind it all. The Ministry of Magic didn't need much convincing. Despite the lack of real evidence, they expelled Hagrid from Hogwarts. His wand was snapped, his education was over, his future stolen. The only person who stood by him? Albus Dumbledore. He fought to let Hagrid stay at Hogwarts as gamekeeper, but that didn't erase the stigma. For years, Hagrid lived under the weight of false accusations, unable to practice magic freely. Years later, thanks to Harry Potter and his friends, the truth finally came to light. Hagrid was cleared of all charges, and for the first time in his life, he was given a true place of honor. He became a professor of care of magical creatures, a job he was born for. Under Dumbledore's protection, life at Hogwarts was good. But with the arrival of Dolores Umbridge, everything changed. She saw Hagrid as a threat. His lessons were sabotaged, his presence questioned. And when Severus Snape became headmaster, Hagrid was once again forced into hiding. No matter how much he gave, the world never fully accepted him. Hagrid was more than a teacher. He was a warrior. From the First Wizarding War to the rise of Voldemort, he remained fiercely loyal to Dumbledore. He risked his life recruiting giants to fight against the Dark Lord, though the mission ended in disaster. When Hogwarts became a battleground, Hagrid stood on the front lines. He fought alongside students, professors, and members of the Order of the Phoenix. Even when Voldemort himself used him to carry Harry's lifeless body, Hagrid never lost faith. And when the dust settled, he was still standing. No one knows for sure what happened after the war. But one thing is certain. Hagrid never left Hogwarts. He continued teaching, caring for magical creatures, and keeping the school's deepest secrets. And love? There was one person who could match his strength and heart. Madame Olympe Maxime, the half-giantess from Beauxbatons. Did they stay together? It's possible. After all, if anyone deserved happiness, it was Hagrid. A tragic hero, a gentle giant, a man who never gave up, even when the world turned against him. That is the true story of Rubeus Hagrid. Rubeus Hagrid. a half-giant with a heart as vast as the forbidden forest. A keeper of secrets, a friend to magical creatures, and a loyal ally to Dumbledore. We know him as the gamekeeper of Hogwarts, the one who carried Harry as a baby and introduced him to the wizarding world. But what do we really know about his past? His story holds more shadows than we might expect. Hagrid was expelled from Hogwarts in 1943, accused of opening the Chamber of Secrets. He was stripped of his wand and left to fend for himself. But what happened between that moment and the day he arrived at Privet Drive with baby Harry? Officially, he remained at Hogwarts as the school's gamekeeper. But could there be more? Could Dumbledore have entrusted him with missions that no one else could handle? There are whispers, stories never confirmed but too intriguing to ignore. Some say Hagrid was involved in gathering allies long before the First Wizarding War officially began. After all, giants were notoriously difficult to approach. Dumbledore knew this, and he knew Hagrid had a way with them. It is possible that even before his official mission to the giants in the 1990s, Hagrid was already trying to sway magical creatures to the side of the light. Another mystery lies in Hagrid's personal life. Did he ever have someone close to him? Madame Maxime comes to mind, but their relationship was more of an alliance than a romance. What about before? There was a mention once of a woman named Frida, a half-giantess who supposedly lived in the mountains of Scotland. Some believe she was more than a friend to Hagrid. Others say she was the reason he stayed close to Hogwarts instead of vanishing into the wilderness. His loyalty to Dumbledore is unquestionable, but how deep did it run? Great man Dumbledore, Hagrid often said. But what if his trust went beyond admiration? What if he was involved in the secret resistance against Grindelwald? He would have been young, but not too young to follow orders. Some believe he helped smuggle magical artifacts away from Grindelwald's reach, transporting them to safety under Dumbledore's command. Hagrid's knowledge of magical creatures also raises questions. How did he know so much about dragons before he met Norbert? The way he handled Fluffy, the three-headed dog, suggests he had encountered similar beasts before. And what about Aragog? The Acromantula's first words to Harry were, "Hagrid has never harmed us." Us? This suggests Aragog was not the only one Hagrid raised. Were there others? Perhaps creatures hidden deep in the forest that even Dumbledore didn't know about. The biggest enigma of all is the night Harry's parents died. Hagrid was sent to collect Harry, but who sent him? It's always assumed Dumbledore gave the order, but what if there was another force at play? Sirius Black arrived first, and yet Hagrid was the one who took the baby. Dumbledore said I was to take him, Hagrid told Harry. But did Dumbledore act alone? Some believe there was another reason Hagrid was chosen, perhaps a reason buried in his past. There is also the question of Hagrid's wand. It was broken when he was expelled, yet we know he kept the pieces hidden inside his pink umbrella. But how much magic did it still hold? Ollivander once said that broken wands rarely work properly. And yet Hagrid performed spells with surprising effectiveness. Did someone, perhaps Dumbledore, help restore its power? Or did Hagrid uncover a lost secret of wand lore that even the Ministry never knew? Hagrid's past is a patchwork of missing pieces. A boy who lost his mother early, a young man who never truly graduated, a wizard without a wand but with power beyond what we see. What other missions did he carry out in Dumbledore's name? What creatures still wait for his return in the shadows of the Forbidden Forest? And perhaps most importantly, what secrets did he keep from even his closest friends? We may never know the full truth. Hagrid, after all, is a man of simple words but complex loyalties. He never boasted, never sought attention, never revealed more than he had to. But behind that warm smile and gentle nature, there was a life filled with untold